that's it for 2025. Um, as the year comes to a close, I've been reflecting on all that's been done this year, and it's really been a lot. It's like almost so much it's hard to remember all of it, and so it's been good to kind of stop and take a moment to reflect because it was just nonstop, go go go. Um, Earlier I was just watching videos about the Gen Z liberal to alt right pipeline, and it made me think about how did I end up here? Hearing about the cultural shift that's been going on before our eyes in our nation really put it in perspective for me, and then made me think about in my own life how I even got here. So reflecting on the year, I think about how it started with economic uncertainty. I was working a dead-end job, and I knew I couldn't continue there. I really had no hope or future in sight there, so I had to remove myself. And for the next 2 months, I was unemployed and not really sure what I was gonna do, where my next step would be. The cool part about it, though, I think I made some of my favorite videos and kind of art pieces that I've made by myself. I think I really found a new way to express myself creatively there. But it was really dark times. It was probably some of the lowest moments I've ever had in my life. I remember a lot of times waking up thinking, I don't know if I'm going to be able to stay here after June when my rent's up, if I'm going to have to move back in with my parents and Ian's going to have to go move to Indiana. That was a daily thought for me. Yeah. And I remember trying, different various jobs, trying to find some type of employment that wouldn't be toil. Because that's the issue. A lot of people today, they work jobs, but it's basically just toil. You're just wasting your time. You're gaining nothing. You're learning nothing. So I wanted a job that would either be something I at least enjoy doing, be interested in, or could help me learn some things. And I remember going in March to meet up with my dad, who was also unemployed at the time. We had a few little outings together, one in Charlotte and then one in Florida. I remember being in Florida in Tampa. We were going to some spring training games, and he was meeting up with a friend, and I tagged along. And it's kind of the topic of going back to school, even something I could do, and that was kind of where it seemed like it was going. I wasn't going to get a good job anytime soon. I was probably just going to have to go back to school. My parents were going to have to support me financially, and I knew I didn't want to go back to school. I knew it wasn't going to work, but I didn't see a path forward. And I remember there's a spot right by like the kind of like, I don't know what you call it, like it's not like a river, but like where the water is in Tampa, right by the edge of downtown. There's like a spot right by this big like apartment complex, not far from what was the Amalie Arena, now Benchmark, something international arena. I just remember sitting there like having a full on like existential crisis and internal crash out, just like it's over, it's done, and so I was pretty defeated early on, but then I don't know, it just kind of, I think you have to have a semblance of confidence even in the heat of adversity. You have to have some self-belief. You have to believe you can dig yourself out of the fire, or else you'll get burned alive. And that was something I remember asking my dad about, like, how are you so cool under all this pressure to, like, get a job and stuff. Because it was weird. For the first time in my life, I was in the same kind of boat. Me and my dad really, I think, broke new ground bonding, as we were kind of in the same scenario, and so it was reassuring to see how cool and collected he was. And that really helped me. And so I think April rolled around, late March rolled around, and I had an opportunity, and I seized it. I grabbed the brass ring and pulled myself out of the pit, and the rest is history with that. It just worked out. I kind of forced them to hire me. I gave them no choice but to hire me. And there's a lot of things that go into that, right place, right time. But I think above all else is firstly I was backed into a corner. I had no choice but to pursue this opportunity to the fullest. But at that point, I had already been pursuing other opportunities fully. I have a pretty decent paying job right now, and I'm valued for my work and time. And right before that, I was looking at doing Domino's delivery. I was looking at being a fitness boxing instructor. I was pretty close to that. I was probably 99% of the way there, and then I decided it wasn't for me the last test and didn't go that way. I remember that day too. I was really angry that day. That's the day I made the thing about crashing out. So many opportunities, but the correct one, prevailed the way it was supposed to be. And so with that, getting this new job, I finally had some sense of security and a new direction, a new way forward. And so I got in there, and my goal was to make myself as irreplaceable as possible in the shortest amount of time, and didn't even really try that hard to do it. It just kind of happened naturally, You can't really, what I've noticed, and I think I was taught this year, is that you can't, you can plan things, and it's good to have a general idea of where you're going to go and what you would like to do with yourself, too. Hold on, there's a plane going by. But you still have to be malleable and able to adapt to whatever obstacle, or even in a good way, opportunity is thrown your direction. And I think keeping that mindset was what really helped me to become what my goal was, irreplaceable there. And through that, we live in a gangster police state. There's 50 million helicopters going over. There's about 6 million helicopters going over right now in Atlanta, so that's really fucking cool. We live in a gangster police state where we're constantly surveilled by corrupt police working for Big Daddy government, making sure you're not saying anything anti-Semitic. Anyway, so where was I? I got a lot of cool opportunities I never thought I'd have. I got to travel to some cities, big cities I'd never been to before, Detroit and Las Vegas. Vegas being the coolest one, obviously, because it's fucking Vegas, And then even the best part, the cherry on top was that being able to go to a UFC fight, a pay-per-view, and see Alex Pereira, one of my favorite, probably my favorite fighter, guy I've been watching for 2 years now, fight. It's a fucking joke. What is this? This is just a joke. All these fucking planes. Anyway. Yeah, and then in the meantime, while doing that, we were able to kind of slowly get the gears running again on our film dream, Ian and I, and started slow with just some sketches, some random sketches. It was cool to do decaf espresso, and we actually work with a real crew and have some actual actors and a real serious production and a location, and bring back Chadwick and stuff like that. And that was really fun. It was a good time, and then we worked our way up I'm literally going to crash out. The next fucking plane that goes by, the next helicopter, I'm going to fucking shoot it down. I'm going to get my AK-47 and shoot it down. This is ridiculous. Look, anyway, I don't know. This is really boring, so I'm just going to, like, do some, like, preaching. Biggest thing I learned this year was resilience. You're going to get kicked down. You're going to have hard times. You're going to be scared and uncertain about your future. That's par for the course if you're doing anything worthwhile. It's just the same dude doing fucking laps. Like, ridiculous. Yeah, fuck you. I can see him right now. He fucking. Can you see him? Yeah. Fuck you. Fuck you. Anyway, that's par for the course if you're doing anything worthwhile, is that you're going to be uncertain about your future, but you have to just keep pushing forward. And life's not about the amount of times you win and how much you receive. It's about how many times you can get knocked down and then get back up and keep pushing. It's easy to feel good and do good and do things well when you're up and you're winning, but when you're at rock bottom, you don't know what you're doing. You're questioning why are you even here in the first place. Stability to adapt and act in those moments is what is most important, and what shows what you're really made of. And being a filmmaker, that's what makes you a good director. Like, you might not have the best product in the end, but and that's the weird thing about art, where none of that's valued, but it's more, can you adapt on the fly? Can you change? Can you problem solve at a high level? Because as we ended the year, we were getting right back, a return to form to where we were, which is really awesome. We have a little crew now. We just made a serious short film again. The first time in about a year and a half, almost 2 years, we've made a real serious short film. And we just got selected to be in a festival, too. First time ever. I mean, it's a small festival, but it's a start, And it's nice to be validated for the work that we've both put in for 3 years. And so, yeah, things are going good right now, but best believe I'm ready for something tragic or bad to happen at any moment. Not wishing that into existence. Knock on wood, nothing's too serious happens, but better way of saying is I'm ready for a setback, and I think it's almost probably due for a setback soon. And that's where it's fun, where you have that setback and you adapt and you move forward and you get back to where you need to be. Get your head back on track. So, looking forward to 2026, and I think it's going to be another great year. There's going to be things that'll happen next year that I will have zero, there's no way I can predict what will happen next year, because I think about this year and the year before that, and I had no idea. I mean, I wrote in my notes, how did I end up here? I don't really know. It's inexplainable. And I guess that's where I was going at it. I was watching videos earlier about the Gen Z liberal to alt-right pipeline. How did we end up here? I bet everyone who falls in that category would say the same thing. How did I end up here? and you really can't explain it. It's really inexplainable. It's just kind of, honestly, I think it was all meant to happen. It's almost predestined in a way. I don't know if you seen anything like this or can relate, but like it seems like there's moments in your life where you can't explain why they're happening or what's happening. And sometimes you almost feel powerless to control it. You have zero control. I've had that a lot recently where I feel like I have no control. I'm just a passenger on this ride, following and showing up to the places where I need to be. And the funny part about that is 90% of the battle is just showing up. You know, in that dark time I mentioned earlier where it was so uncertain, I had no idea what I was going to do. Against all social programming and conditioning, I showed up to this place that gave me a great job. I showed up unannounced and just showed up. And now I'm here. I have the job, a job that I like and that I'm doing pretty well at, and it pays pretty well. Just all because I showed up. I kept showing up too. I didn't take no for an answer. And that's one thing I think in school they kind of tell you that if you ask a question, you know, they say no, there's no stupid questions, but if you ask enough questions, you just ask the simple question, why am I doing this? You'll get the favorite answer of every adult to a child, because you're supposed to, or because I said so, because, or no, because. If you ask, can I do this? No, because. And they tell you to take no for an answer. You're denied an explanation. And I feel like a lot of people have lost that curiosity that they had as a kid, and the ability to bet on themselves. And if somebody tells you no, says you can't do this, now they just believe it. And okay, I guess I'll do what they tell me to. Where it used to be, someone would tell you no, you'd be like, well, I don't care. What do you know? You don't know me. And so I hope 2026 is the year of, I don't fucking care what you're going to tell me. I'm going to do it in spite of what you're saying. I hope it's a year for that, for everyone. That'd be nice. Then we could all thrive and prosper. So, I don't know. Looking forward to 2026, and I'm pretty happy with how this year went, all things considered. So, yeah, I'm thankful, and I can clearly say that I am blessed to live the life I live. And even if I wasn't up, I would still be blessed just to be alive. Every day is a blessing. Every day is a day to celebrate and be happy that you are alive, you are breathing, you are a child of Christ and God, and it's a new opportunity, a new moment to seize the brass ring and advance yourself. And that's how I think we have to look at each day, because otherwise you'll be a slave to toil and monotony, and nobody wants to be that. And I know you don't want to be that, and you're not meant for that. You're not built for that. You're built for better things. And so, imparting wisdom, I wish everybody out there a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Happy holidays are done. We're not saying that anymore. Merry Christmas. And I hope 2026 is a fruitful and prosperous year, as 2025 was for me. And hopefully 2025 was for you as well, but I hope 26 is even better. And, yeah. Amen. God bless.